So, episode 2 of Erase came out, and I gotta say, this show, it is still keeping my interest. This week we got the opening and the ending, and the opening, to me, I definitely like it. The ending, to me, it was definitely good as well, but I doubt that I would listen to it every week, like I would do with the opening. But obviously, this episode, it mainly focused on our main character, Satoru. He's trying to build this friendship with Kayo because obviously he wants to save her. Now, I definitely recall, in the first one, they said that it was two students who disappeared and wound up dead. But it seems that Satoru is definitely more focused on, rescuing Kayo. So I do wonder, who is the other student? And maybe, they already gone missing because, when Satoru, had went to school, there was an empty desk there, but I'm pretty sure that right there was I'm pretty sure that right there was Kaio's desk. So I do wonder, when we see the other student who disappeared, because, I'm definitely sure, Satoru will definitely want to save that person as well. But we see now that obviously he had got sent back, he got sent back 18 years, which now makes him, 11 years old. And so we see obviously that right there is a huge shock because now he's back in school. We see now that when he went there, he not even recall, where his desk was. And so we see now that, him going through the day, going through a school day, that right there was a pretty big shock. And we see now that when it was break time for them, we see that he had made some excuse that he had a headache. And so what he did was, he had took his backpack, and we see him now running home. But we see now that when he left, he actually ran past Kaya because he was so set on, see his mother, once again. And so when he had went home now, we see at first that his door was locked because obviously, she was not there. And we even see him now, getting a bit, surprised by some random woman who he thought that was maybe his mother, coming to him. But we see now that right there was a stranger, and we see him find some key behind their mailbox, and that right there allowed him to go inside. And so we see that while he waiting for his mother, we see him, have this mask, and that mask was a hero who really left a big impression on him, while he was growing up. But we see now that when his mom came home, this guy was so happy. And so we see that when they were having dinner, his mother had brought up how they had some argument, this morning about some recorder. But of course, this right here is this right here is of course his 29-year-old self trapped in his 11-year-old self body. So of course he had no idea what she was talking about. But we see him now, saying sorry to her, but at the same time he was crying as well because he was just so happy, to see his mother alive and well, once again. And so right now, the following day, we see him, or we get introduced now to all his friends. We have Kenya, who's definitely the breakout friend, so to say, because this guy, not only is smart, but at the same time, he is dropping these hints, for Satoru, to help him out. And so we see eventually now we have his friends, asking him if he likes Kayo. And so he said, it's not that he likes her, but she's on his mind though. And so right now we have his friend Kazu, I believe his name is, he was the one who got them to meet up somewhere so where they can talk. And so we see now that the first thing Kayo says, when they meet face to face, she asked them if they were an idiot. Oh, and also, during that day while they were in class, we have Satoru staring at Kayo for the entire first period or so, which is why his friends brought up in the first place. But we see now that Kayo, she actually had a rather large bruise on her leg, and that right there raised our first red flag. And so right now we have Satoru, making his case with her, trying to be her friend. And so Kayo, told him, pretty much instantly said, both of them were fake, but Satoru was not giving up, even though, he did say that she was a pain in the ass. And so right now, when like she was leaving at one point, we have, Satoru not wanting to give up, but we see, Sayo, this little girl, actually asking him if he can actually kill someone for her. And that right there, that really just blew, my freaking mind, because what in the world is like some little child, doing, like knowing about something like killing. And so obviously, there's no way Satoru can do that. And so Kaio had pretty much left. But I will say that that all these, real world name drops that were mentioned in the episode, to me, that right there was surprising, because we had, a mention of Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy and Nintendo, because normally in anime, you definitely get, the references because they change it. But no, in this episode, they were like definitely, pretty direct with like these real world references. And so right now we see that like all their friends, they were like rather curious about how it went between, Kaio and Satoru. And of course now, they were pretty much, being too eager right now. And that right there was like definitely, overwhelming Satoru. But then we have Kenya, who is definitely like the leader of this little group. He had got them all to calm down. And so at one point they were leaving. And so we see now that Satoru, he throughout the entire episode, there we go, he was like walking around without, any gloves. And so right now, one of their friends, Osamu, he was like asking him if his hands were cold, because apparently Satoru just got these, brand new gloves, but for some reason he had no idea where they were. But that's where Osamu, brings up that like maybe he had left them in this hideout. Now we have no idea what the hideout is or where it's at, because apparently they don't go there on like snowy days, because that right there leave footprints. And so right now, we have Kenya, looking at Satoru, because, to me, I thought maybe he had realized that something was like definitely up with him. But we see now that when all their friends had left, and it was Kenya and Satoru, and we have Kenya, asking Satoru a serious question at first. Satoru was like definitely kind of worried, because maybe Kenya had picked up, that something was like definitely different about him. But no, he asked him about some kind of like essay book where all the students wrote, an essay. And of course, Kenya was like hinting at to look at Kaio's, because that right there will like definitely help Satoru in the future. Oh, and also when Satoru and Kaio were like talking at first, when Kaio had left, we saw Yuuki, because obviously, this guy was like holding a plane, but for some reason we did not get, like a full like body image of him. Like we saw a portion of him, just like holding a plane. And so to me, I did wonder why they did all of that, because to me it seems kind of weird. But regardless, now we have Satoru going home, and of course now he was like going through the essay book. And so we see now that the essay that like Kaio wrote, it was definitely pretty emotional, and to be honest, it was definitely, a little bit depressing, because right now she wants to go to an island where there's like no one on there, no children, no adults, no kids, no teachers, and of course not even her own mother. And so we all know the reason for that is because her mother is like definitely abusing her. But I will save that, for the end of this review, because that right there, so we saw it, happening, in the episode. But right now, while he was looking through that, out of nowhere, we have this like mother, coming home. And so while they were having dinner, he asked her about, having a birthday party. And so to her, that right there was like quite a surprise, because Satoru was like never the guy who actually, wanted to have a party. And so she told him that like, not a lot of guests can like fit in there, but he only wants to invite, 5 people. We all know, his little group of friends who he's pretending, to fit in with. And of course, Kaio as well. And so then that night, while they were sleeping, we have Satoru thinking to himself, but his mother actually called out to him and asked him if he was awake. And so right now, she obviously, obviously his mother knows about, the forefront that he hang out with. And so a fifth to her, must mean like a girlfriend, which he asked them. And to me, I found it rather amusing how he still call her, a demon or a yokai, because to me, I find that, quite hilarious. And so now the following day, we have, once again, him and his friends hanging out, but once again, we have Osamu, letting him know that, Kaio was now leaving. And so right now, Osamu thought that, maybe, Satoru would get, a little mad that, once again, they're bring it up, but no, this time he was, grateful because now he can, run and catch up to her. And so right now we see that, it took Satoru, quite a while to catch up, because we see that when he did find her, it was actually it was the same night and the same location of the last time he saw her, in the park, because we learned now that, normally Kaio, she actually stays out, so that way she shouldn't have to go home, right away and deal with her abusive mother. And so we see now that while they were talking, we once again have Satoru, trying to be her friend, but once again, Kaio brings out, how he's fake, and how Satoru, performing and how Satoru is performing to fit in, obviously. And so we see now that even though, while, Satoru was doing that, he has made the choice to not lie to her. So of course, every time we see Satoru and Kaio interact with each other, that right there is really him, and not some kind of fake mask that he wears to fit in, because he wants to be liked by everyone, but he wants to be real with her. And so we see now that at one point we have Kaio, getting Satoru to show him her hands. And so at one point, both of them, at one point they had their hands touching, and that right there was really freaking him out. But in his mind though, he was you're a 29-year-old dude. What in the world are you getting embarrassed for? But we see now that at first, when Kaio, had pulled back, he was trying to play it off, but we see now that because Satoru is now being more real with her, she is now able to understand him more easily. And so, in his mind, he was thinking that, it's because, I decided not to lie to you, but he actually said it out loud, and that right there was the second time that right there was the second time that he said his thoughts out loud. And so we see now that that right there pretty much caught Kaio off guard, and we see her running away from him. But that right there happened after Satoru had invited her to a birthday party. And so we also learned that Satoru's birthday, Satoru's birthday is March 2nd, and we see now that on that snowy day, that the last time he saw her, in the future. Now to me, I believe the current date is February 7th, February 17th. So I do wonder, what in the world will happen in these 2 weeks. Well, yeah, I do wonder what will happen in these 3 to 2 weeks, from now, to a birthday, because right now Satoru is determined now, to save her, because this right here could be the start of capturing this killer, and also, of course, saving his mother in the future. And so we see now that right there is where the episode pretty much ended. But like I said, episode 2 is definitely continue on a very strong note, because like I said, episode 1, to me, this right here is probably my hypest show, of this season now, aside from our general, which come out tomorrow. But of course, let me know what you guys thought. Like I said, I loved it. This show is definitely, this show definitely has a very nice pace. I'm definitely hyped for next week, because I do want to see what in the world will Satoru do next. Because like I said, right now, he definitely made a lot of progress with becoming becoming friends with Kaya, and that right there is obviously like the first step in saving her life. And so right now, right now I do wonder, with like Kaya members abusing her, I do wonder if like she killed him, or maybe it like really was this kidnapper killer that's like going around. But of course, let me know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.